guys, hope you're having a fantastic day wherever you're in the world. Today we're going to be having some classic Korean street food. When you go to traditional markets in Korea, you typically will find these signature dishes. Here we have tteokbokki, but with a twist, with cheese on it. Sundae, blood sausages, kan, liver, and various twigim, fried goods. And we have fish cake, eomuk, and we have kimbap, rolls. Ooh, I am dying to try the cheese tteokbokki. Oh, it looks like it dried a bit. Today I'm going to be answering your questions from Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. I'm going to go through as many of them as possible. In our first bite, let's have the tteokbokki without the cheese. Whoa! At first, I tasted it, I was like, it's sweet. And then the spiciness, it just, whoopam, slaps you in the face towards the end. Tteokbokki are rice cakes. Sometimes they're sweeter than spicy. In this case, it is spicier than expected. And let's pair it with the cheese. Normally, tteokbokki does not have cheese on it. But putting that cheese on there, it makes things more exciting. Yeah, as I'm filming this, it is Friday, and putting the cheese on here makes it taste more like Friday. Let me give you a close-up of the cheesy tteokbokki. It almost looks like a curry. Oh, the cheese breaks apart too easily. Because there's so much sauce in here, you could add in rice if you want. You know these cylinders? They're rice cakes. When they're alone, by itself without any sauces, it's called karetok. And karetok is made of rice. Whew. Okay, let's cool things down by eating the eomuk, the fish cake. Something's crunchy in that, and the crunchiness comes from the bits of scallion. Oh, I'm breaking out a sweat. I have the AC on. I might need to pump it up more. And let's give you a close look at the eomuk. Oh, I spilled some onto my kimbap. Texture is more firm than a tofu. It breaks apart easily in the mouth. It's a very light flavor. Let's have a sip of this soup. When you eat at street food stalls that sell fish cake with the soup like this, they will give you a complimentary cup with the soup in it. Let's have a twigim. Now these have been cut in half. Here's the inside. Very orange. It looks to be kabocha. It tastes delicious and unhealthy because it is fried, but it tastes more delicious than fried. And you can hear it's quite crispy. You can't really taste the kabocha in that. It's all about the exterior skin. Here's a sundae, blood sausages. On the inside you have noodles. It's a bit translucent. If you hold it up against the light, you can see the edges. The light seeps through it. sort of like a frosted glass. My food, it came with some sauces. Salt for sundae, 2 packages of soy sauce. Oh! Let's see how different it tastes when we sprinkle on some of this seasoning for the sundae. Okay, so in this package, ooh, that might be too much, it's gonna be salty now. This package, it contains salt, sesame seeds, and it looks like chili flakes as well. I put too much seasoning on that. Ooh, it's salty. Let's balance it out. Let's balance it out. Let's kill that saltiness with the oil. What's this? I think it's completely white in the inside. I'm guessing it is squid. Yeah, it has the texture of squid. Rubbery, chewy. If you feel your twigim is bland, you could dip it in your tteokbokki. Why not? Ooh, that's a nice combo. Okay, let's try kimbap, and then I'm gonna start answering your questions. My favorite part of the kimbap are the ends, so I'm gonna save that for last. Ooh, quite colorful. I see carrot, 단무지, cucumber, egg, a mushroom. So normally it's a circle, but I'm smashing it a bit with my chopsticks, so it's a little lopsided. All right, let's do it in one bite. What I like about this kimbap is the interior ingredients. There's a generous amount of it, and the ring of rice is not too thick. Because some restaurants or some street food vendors, they use too much rice and little ingredients, so it tastes very bland. But this one, you get a little bit of crunch, a little bit of that gooiness from the rice, a little bit of everything. Ooh, let's dip it into the tteokbokki sauce. Tteokbokki kimbap with cheese. Wow. What is this magic gonna taste like? Okay, I'm gonna assume it's gonna take me about 100 bites. Roar. Then the battery died. Onto the second battery. And now we answer your questions. Starting off with Instagram questions. Dora D Loves You 61 asks, I have a big decision to make. It will impact my future as a whole. I'm only 15 and this is important. A lot of pressure is put on me. How do I know what I want? Sometimes it's very hard to make a decision. However, when you know your values and when you prioritize, it's easier to make a decision. You know, I would say the older you get, you know yourself better and you have a better idea of what you want. You know, you have made mistakes and you've made successes. So experiences help form your values. And 15 is still quite young. Of course, one person, like one 15-year-old is not exactly the same as another 15-year-old, but generally speaking, 15 is quite young. But sometimes what seems to be life-changing is not as life-changing as you thought in retrospect. This fried baby is called kimmari twigim. Inside it contains japchae noodles, and I see orange flakes. Perhaps that is carrot. The seaweed flavor is quite strong in that one. Although the seaweed is very thin. Really can taste it in that. Let's dip it into the tteokbokki sauce. Pammy Wood asks, are there any vaccinations required to travel to South Korea? When it comes to vaccinations, I would confirm with your travel clinic. Before I travel long-term in Asia, I went to the travel clinic and I gave them the list of countries I'm going to visit. And then they're like, okay, for this country, you should get this and this and this, just in case, da, da, da. And if you stay in rural areas, if you stay on farms, then you might need another set of vaccinations. AkiFan87 asks, I'm only 11 and I really want to live in Korea when I'm older. How do I know where I want to live? How do I know what job I want? I want to go to college in Korea. How do I know which university I want to go to? And most important, show us food. But all jokes aside, I really want to know about that. Food, food, food. I think the younger you are, there's just so many possibilities. Being 11, there's so many things that are waiting for you to try. The more you experience, the more you talk with people, the more you read, the more you go out and try different things, you'll have a better idea of what you like and what you don't like. And from there, it'll be easier for you to decide, oh, I prefer going to these universities. I prefer living in this city over that other city. If you don't try things, you're still gonna question and not exactly know what to do with yourself. But the more you put yourself out there, the more knowledge you gain, the more you get to know about yourself. These questions you ask me, it'll become more apparent as time goes by with your efforts and perseverance. Oh, my foot is falling asleep. Oh, I'm slapping my leg to make it awake. Pins and needles, pins and needles. Oh. When I film mukbang outside of my home, I do a lot of improvisation with setting up the camera. In this case, I put the food on one of my smaller tables, and then I put the gorilla pot on a chair, and I'm sitting on a towel for a little bit of cushion. Alright, let's try a different type of fried goodie. This one, I see a dark ring around it. I'm guessing it is a sweet potato in the inside. Crunch. That is sweet potato. The natural sugar in it, I could taste it. Whenever I go to Korea in the wintertime, my favorite street food is sweet potato. It doesn't require extra seasoning, you just bake it. But so yummy. Filling. We didn't try the liver yet, did we? These looks like tortilla chips. Looks very dry. Are you guys into liver? The texture is just so weird sometimes. Right now I'm sitting on a very tiny chair. It's called my foot. Frozen fears. How do you stay motivated? I feel like I'm constantly lost and I don't know where to go or what to do. Thank you! I mentioned in previous videos before that I have soul searched so many times in my life. Even up until 2 years ago, I was soul searching, like, what do I want to do? What? So lost. In my soul searching phases, I am very motivated to talk to more people, get their insight, read more. The thing about motivation, it's a feeling. And sometimes you just do things because you need to do it. It's not about, oh, today I feel inspired, so I will write a book. Some days I wake up feeling different than the previous morning. So it's not about, I feel motivated today or I feel inspired. It's just like you have an idea, you have a concept, you have something you want to work on, a project. You just do it. You plan out the steps and then you give like a deadline for each step. You're like, okay, for step 1, I think it might take me 1 week to complete. And then step 2, maybe 2 weeks to complete. Step 3, maybe just 5 days to complete. You have an end goal, and then from there you divide it out into steps. You have a general idea of what the process is gonna be like. So for me, that's motivation. Like breaking things down into steps, and then I'm like, if you really want something, you're gonna go get it. Doesn't matter how you feel, you just do it. Okay, I'm gonna just do a half a bite this time. Half bites of the kimbap is more manageable. I'm looking outside my window. I noticed that the buildings in Jeju, on average, they're shorter than the buildings in Seoul and Busan. Alrighty, let's try. Ooh, this one is mandu. Oh, the inside of this also contains japchae. It looked like there were only those glass noodles in there, but I could taste some chives in that. I see some questions related to Korea, like when you're gonna go to Kamcheon Culture Village, what about Busan, like actually, you guys, I have a YouTube channel called Sweet and Tasty TV. I mentioned it a lot of times, but I think some people who are just pretty new to my channel, they still don't know about it. Sweet and Tasty TV channel focuses on everything Korean, and there's a bunch of travel vlogs on there from Seoul to Busan to Jeju, and there's more content coming up. Because right now I'm in Jeju and I'm gonna be filming here for the next 7-ish, 8 days. JW Rai 16 asks, why is dating so hard these days? I fell on the ground. Okay, it's not like I lived in a village 200 years ago, but this is what I imagine. When things were more small town, you only have like, let's say 100 people in your village. You just might have like 3 options, 3 people to choose from to marry. And these days, oh, there's just too many options. Like all the villages combined, and instead of having 3 options to date or marry someone, you have like hundreds of options. There's more people in the history of mankind today than ever. If you have 3 options, you also might be able to, you know, get to know them better one at a time. But if there's 100 options, who has time for that? On top of that, there is so much diversity in lifestyles these days. Back in the day in many cultures, people married not because of love, but because they had to. You know, there might be dowries involved, family giving another family money or cows or just goods that helps them to survive. And royals would marry other royals for power. So there's a reason aside from love to marry off your daughters and sons. Ooh, that's another sweet potato. These are already sliced up. These days, having a special feeling for someone is very important, aka romanticism. And when that feeling goes away, people start to get worried, like, oh, does he not love me anymore because he doesn't treat me like he did in the honeymoon phase? In the case of arranged marriages, you were told to marry someone and then you learn to love them. These days it's easier to just, if it doesn't work out, it's easy to leave. There's more freedom now. I'm not saying it's bad or good. There's pros and cons to every situation. More cheese. Wow, it's gotten stiff. There's a book I read by Alain de Botton called The Course of Love. I highly recommend this book. I actually talked about it in my live stream recently. But for those who didn't watch the live stream, here you go. I'm telling you the info now. JPR asks, how do you maintain your inner peace? Before, I used to really work to feel this relaxing daily emotion. But now it's not like I work to get that feeling. It's just there. I've learned to accept myself for who I am, for how I look, and knowing that I have my strengths, I have my weaknesses just like anybody else. And also just knowing everyone is human. No one's gonna be perfect. no matter how awesome they are or how terrible they are. So just accepting yourself and accepting others, I think that helps increase inner peace. When you accept yourself, it reduces insecurity. Oh, let's get another sweet potato one. I'm sorry if I keep looking away from the camera. I love people watching. So my eyes are constantly drawn out the window and looking at the cars and the people walking by. And I see a lot of roofs. So it's fun to see like people gardening, people exercising, people putting up their laundry. The kimbap, it tastes better as is without dipping it into the tteokbokki sauce. The tteokbokki sauce is quite powerful. Minnie Mouse asks, while you travel, you see many places and you get around a lot. Most of the time you travel by yourself. Don't you ever feel lonely? You know, maybe because I grew up as an only child, I don't feel lonely often. You know, I actually enjoy eating alone at restaurants. I mean, of course, I love company. I love hanging out and talking with family and friends and eating with them. But I don't feel weird about eating alone at restaurants or going to movie theaters alone. The way I see it is, even if I sit next to a stranger in a theater or wherever, I think, if I was born in this city, this person could be my friend. If I lived another life. Or that other person, it could have been my brother, and it could have been my mom. Of all the fried goodies, the sweet potato, oh, that is so tasty. That's the taste I want for my life. When I eat the tteokbokki, I'm like, this is my favorite thing on the table. But then when I eat the kimbap, I'm like, no, the kimbap is my favorite thing on the table. And then when I eat the twigim, the fried sweet potato, I'm like, no, this is my favorite thing. And these three turn me into player. Just can't decide with one of them. Now let's have an end of roll. When it was first rolled, it was sticking out like this. Oops, but it got smushed in the box. The tteokbokki, this one is the strongest of anything here. It's more of a sinful dish compared to all these guys. So I'm getting a lot of questions regarding loneliness and traveling alone. Here's one. Agnes Pie asks, hello Mina, how can I convince myself to travel alone? Is it difficult? Don't you sometimes feel lonely or even scared? I often hear that a woman shouldn't travel on her own. Could you give some advice? Some countries are safer to travel alone as a female compared to others. And once again, I don't get lonely easily. There's no need to convince yourself to travel alone. If you want to travel alone, you just do it. It's okay if you prefer to travel with people. There's a lot of countries I wanted to visit, and no one I knew was able to take off and check out all those places with me. On top of that, my goal for travel was to film videos. So for me, it's like if I go with other people, it could be a little bit hard for me to concentrate. I will feel a bit conscious about entertaining whoever I'm traveling with. Whereas if I travel alone, I could focus more on my work, more on filming, more on editing time, and that way I don't feel rushed. There are pros and cons to traveling alone and traveling with someone. If you want to travel with someone, I recommend traveling with someone who's flexible and open to try many things. There I go, looking off in the distance again. Let me give my attention and love to you. Here's a specific question on traveling alone. Hafiz Mustafa asks, honestly, do you prefer traveling alone or in small groups? Suppose going to a tropical place like Bali. I really love your vids. Keeps me motivated. Awesome! For my solo travels, I have met many other people who I've joined forces with, and just randomly, like I'm a single traveler, they're a single traveler, we might meet each other at a cafe, start talking, and then for the rest of the day we may just, you know, walk around the streets of Vietnam together. If you travel with your friends or family and you go together to another country, the group dynamic is very important, because just because you go with 4 other friends is not the same as going with 4 of your family members. If you go with your friends, it might be a little bit more of a wild adventure as opposed to traveling somewhere with your parents. And if you travel with 4 of your wild friends, it's going to be a different experience than traveling with 4 of your calmer friends. So for me, yes and no to enjoying traveling in groups. It really depends on who you go with. And if you go with people who complain a lot, it's not as fun. For me, I enjoy traveling with people who have appreciation for food and love culinary experiences, whether it's street food, like down to earth, or something a little fancy and special, unique to that cuisine. ChesterCat25 asks, when you don't want to go to the gym, what do you think of to motivate yourself? At times, if my mom is at home with me and I'm like, Mom, it's too cold, I don't want to go to the gym, then my mom's like, nope, you're going to the gym. And then I'm like, okay. Other times when I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go to the gym right now. And then if I think about it for too long, then I might have second thoughts. So before I have second thoughts, I just put on my gym clothes and go, head out the door. I try not to think too much, just do it, just go. Martha Kudasai asks, I'm actually moving to Seoul this August and I'm a little scared. How is it to eat out alone? Do a lot of people stare at you? Actually, I never notice people staring at me when I go out and eat alone in Korea or wherever, but maybe I just am not aware that people are staring at me. There's so much delicious food I want to try, but I'm afraid my psyche won't let me. Really love your videos. Oh, you are so cute. I eat alone all the time and there's no problem with it. Okay, the only issue is if you go somewhere during peak lunch hours, some places might want to rush you because you're taking a table of 2 people or 3 people. If you're sitting more like a bar style where you're taking 1 seat, it's no problem. Maybe people have stared at me while I'm eating alone, but it doesn't matter, you know? If you catch them, you just wink at them. Ooh, there's one more sweet potato slice left. Rich the musician asks, how come you don't stay with family when visiting South Korea? Like, how come you get an Airbnb? Yes, I have family in South Korea, mostly in Seoul. I don't have any family in Busan and Jeju. When I used to visit Korea for family purposes and just vacationing, I stayed with my aunts and I stayed with my grandma. When I'm in Korea to film a bunch of travel vlogs, I have my schedule and it's hard for me to constantly be flexible with other people's schedule, like whoever I'm staying with. That can defeat the purpose of me being in South Korea to film. If I lose a whole day because of a particular reason, who knows what it is, then it means I have to come back to Korea, fly back sooner for the next trip. And I prefer not to fly in all the time, like too frequently, because that is additional cost to me. And YouTubing, you have to think of it as a small business. Well, I'm on a budget. So whenever I come to Korea, I want to film as much as I can in advance. And whatever other country I'm filming at. Another thing is, because I come to Korea about once a year now, I don't want to impinge on my family schedule. Everyone's busy doing their own thing, so I don't want to make them responsible for me. And also, my family in Korea, they never visited me in America, so I feel kind of bad to ask them all the time, can I stay at your place? Let's answer your questions on Facebook. Moses Wuganig asks, how do you deal with existential, I can't pronounce this right now, existential crisis? For those of you not familiar with existential crisis, it's about questioning life, whether it has any meaning. Like, what's the purpose of me being here? Is what I do any worth if we're all gonna die? I definitely went through existential crisis. I used to ask myself all the time, what's the purpose of what I do? Why, like in high school, I was like, why am I studying so hard? We're all gonna die. So what's the point of this? Even if I get a great job, I'm gonna die. All the money I make, where's it gonna go? If I have kids, then it might go to them, but still, I'm gonna die. What's the point of having a party? People go to party to enjoy, to merry-make with their family and friends. Parties also help you forget about the sadness in your life. Okay, so everyone has a different reason to party, but generally speaking, parties make people feel excited. But parties only last for a couple hours. But when you're partying, you're enjoying. You know, think of life as a long party, or even a long film. And to be honest, I'm glad that we don't live forever. Forever is a very heavy word. And imagine if you live forever. It just feels weird. What are you gonna do with your infinite life? I think I'd be more lazy if I knew I live forever. There's no deadline. Deadlines make you act. You're like, okay, by tomorrow I need to do this. And you have no other choice. Then you're gonna go do it and do what you can to make it happen. Like when you have a deadline for a project tomorrow and you're just like, I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I have to do it. You make things happen when you have a deadline. You know, some people may live 20 years. Some people may live 50 years. Other people live past 100. We don't know our expiration date. We just learn how to make the best of it. Whatever time we're given, we just learn how to be the best version of ourselves. I tell myself, don't take death personally. Everyone's gonna go through it. There are companies out there trying to figure out ways we can live forever. If you had the money and the choice, would you want to live forever? Would you? What kind of responsibility would you have if you live forever? Oh no. If people live forever, here's the thing. If people from 500 years ago, they're still alive today, we might not have been able to progress. If people who are generations older than you are still here today, they may be very powerful and they will be projecting their ideals onto this current world. You know, if people from 500 years ago were still alive today, perhaps arranged marriages will be a mandatory thing. That's not to say all the generations before us are conservative in a stifling way. You know what? Some personality, some characters from 500 years ago, they may be more open-minded than some of us who are alive today. Oh, there's a bug. I don't know how that got in there. I am very full. I gotta do some video editing tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed eating various Korean street food with me. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Snapchat at Miss Mina O. And you guys, did you check out my merch shop yet? I have a couple designs up. Check it out. I'll see you guys in the next mukbang and travel vlog. Bye bye.